Hello, hello, you guys, and we are live. Thank you so much for being here with me on this Friday afternoon or evening for some of you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate you trusting me and being here in this process. As many of you guys know, maybe you heard in social media or you've been seeing what I've been posting, is that now we're still in January. It is still the perfect time to being clear in what it is that we want to bring in the next year, the next month, or even the next week, or even in the day, right? And but then also I want to clarify any time is a perfect time, but now collectively we all are working together towards something, right? Like recently here in the US, we just had the transition from one government, the one that just left, into this new one. So there's a lot of things happening energetically, a lot of still anxiety and still uncertainty, still of excitement at the same time, because whenever there's change, there are good things that will happen, and also there's things that we're shedding or letting go, and then some other things that we're still wondering what's going to happen, right? So my whole idea, my whole goal in our meeting here, and also in the things that I do around my life, obviously starting with myself, and I know sometimes for many of us it is a conscious action or effort that we make, is to bring awareness into our thinking process, into what it is that I'm doing, so that I'm okay with what happens. I'm okay in taking care of myself, taking care of my energy, and how I can actually still provide and being here of service. So, for those of you who maybe are new to me, don't know much about me, or you've seen me in social media and wondering about who this Wendy is, well, super quick, my name is Wendy Rosenthal. I am an empowerment coach, transformational, and mindset coach for women. And one of my deepest goals is helping women break free from the emotional burden, really giving them that ability so that they can heal themselves, they can remember their potential, and they can really be confident in their own skin, and knowing that they can actually do the things that they want to do and have and attract all the things that they want. And one of the things why I really focus with women wanting that emotional freedom is because in my own journey, and along with me, so many other women who have shared their stories, is that something still feels like it's holding us back. It feels like we're still like held back by some past trauma or past belief, or we're still going back to an old routine, old habit. Or part of it is also, I don't know, if you please let me know, for those of you who are here live, if you're watching the replay as well, let me know. I want to know, because it's so interesting that there's now many people, and I feel that after 2020 there's more people that are getting triggered again, and all shit is kind of, I'm sorry for using swearing here and there, but there's all crap coming back, right? Like, and I've heard this so many times, and women telling me, well, Wendy, I'm not sure why, but I feel that I already went through this healing, I already went through this, and I thought I healed, I thought that I got over it, I thought that I moved on, but it feels like I haven't, right? Like, tell me, give me a one if you have been there before, or and if somehow it feels like this feeling, this sensation is familiar. Give me a two if you're like, no, that was never me, not me, not at all. I'm not stuck in the past, and I'll be so happy to see that there will be someone out there saying that I'm a number two, meaning no burden from the past. But I feel like the majority is still, in one way or another, held back by old beliefs and old ways of thinking. And so, what feels like is that it's not, people think, well, the past is coming back, the past is coming back. It's not so much the past, it's what is up here in our mind, which is really our thinking process, our thoughts, that hasn't completely healed. So it's never left your mind, it's never left, it has probably left your consciousness, because most of the time we are doing the things that we're supposed to do on the daily basis. But whenever something would trigger us, right, that's when that past belief, that past trauma will come back, and then we feel that we are, we're feeling the same emotions, same sensations. And super briefly, I'll tell you, and I'm very open sharing my story, and I always encourage women or people in general to also share their story, because that way we can connect better. Not, I mean, obviously you and I, but also with the people around you, with your own family and friends, because one of the things that really brings people together is feeling that connection and feeling relatable and feeling that, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one going crazy, I'm not in this alone. And that's my whole goal in what I do as a coach, and or what I do as a healer, and what I do with people or women in particular who come to me asking for help, because a lot of them completely feel that they're lonely. A lot of them feel like there's nothing else for them to do, or they don't know who to ask, they don't know who to even talk to, because a lot of these things they just want to talk. I had a few women that said, Wendy, at the beginning, before we start coaching, or they started coaching with me, they felt, at the beginning I wasn't really into like asking for help, but all I wanted was somebody to help me just by listening. I just wanted to express myself, and that's the one of the few things that I noticed, but almost the number one disconnect that I see in people is that we shut down, we close our throat, right, our throat chakra. We close our way of expressing ourselves, and we are not opening up to healing in that sense, because the more you open up, and it's not so much like spilling everything, right, like all your life, and being, yes, it's okay to be vulnerable, but it's not so much about like telling all your struggles or your problems to people, but it's really starting to share what it is that you're feeling right now in the moment. And this is one question that I ask often, is that how, like, one of the practices that I do in the morning, and I post this here and there, is that I get to ask myself, how are you being today, Wendy? And I talk to myself. If you've been following me on social media, you know that I talk to myself a lot. Like I like I said, I leave messages, put notes, and I ask myself questions, because I want to reconnect to who I really am. Meaning, I want to get out of that thinking, logical mind, and get out of that busyness of life, and then go back to the soul, go back to the true nature of myself. And one way for me is by having that communication. And I'm sure you've heard about this, but the number one thing also that a lot of people are seeking for is love and connections, right? But you also have heard that before you start loving someone or even attracting love, you got to love yourself. And connection, communication, conversations with yourself, it is really a good practice to reinforce self-love, self care. And so I do that to myself, to obviously that's the thinking part, right? Like talking to my mind, to my thoughts, to my beliefs, and also talking to my body, connecting back to my physical form, who I am here to do, connecting to my organs. Because as some of you guys probably have known, if you've been following me, a little bit of my background is in the healing world, or in this healing modality. It is coming from a health perspective, because I was diagnosed with cancer. However, I don't talk about it being my cancer, or like I'm suffering or I'm a victim, but my background is more about my healing, my awakening, and everything that I have done so far. It was because of that one time 9 years ago. Oh, I think, oh my gosh, I completely forgot, you guys. It now it's been 9 years ago, like last week. That was my cancer anniversary. It's crazy. I know I'm not, my approach is very unconventional. I know a lot of people wear that like labels differently. I'm not so much about labels, but one of my things is that I still want to recognize that and acknowledge what has happened in the past to me, or what is still happening, so that I can learn, look at it, like maybe from far, like see it, and how, ask the questions, how can I help you to help myself? So that would be a topic for another time. But today we are focusing more in what it is that we can do to create the kind of life that we want and we desire in this year 2020. And so with the tools that you will be getting, as well as with working with me if you like to, it is how can you continuously work towards that with so much flow and being effortless. Because a lot of people are so much in the mindset of like hustling, struggling, you have to work hard. Like, I don't know about your background, but also a lot of people are still in the mindset of past generations that we have to work hard to get what we want, right? Who has heard that many times before? I personally have heard it so many times by my parents, especially by my mom and my grandparents. But we always hear that, like, we can't stop, we can take a break, we have to push, push, push. That's the only way to get it. But I also feel and believe that there's a much easier, better way for our soul, because we are exhausting our physical body if we're continuously working, quote unquote, working hard and making those sacrifices. All right. So once again, thank you. And then if you have any questions, you can type it down below in the chat. And I also have a few comments or questions that I gathered from the email that I sent for those of you who signed up. And so, but then if you have more like for the questions, like also let me know in an email if there's more detail that you want to get out of this. And also before starting, actually, I want to mention it because I don't want to wait until the end if some of you guys are excited to hear, because I know some of you have asking me. I know that I know that I want to work with you, that you have something for me, because I've talked to some of you on private. So my whole goal about this as well is really to introduce you to this type of work that I've been doing as a coach. So I've been doing coaching for quite some time. I started with health coaching, which is again with that background of health and wellness, and then I transitioned into life coaching. And one of the things that I've been finding is very that really gets the results is when we connect to the mind, and again bringing the awareness. And one thing that I noticed as well is that a lot of us coaches always talk about being aware and being conscious, and I know I've said it so many times, like, guys, when you wake up, be so conscious of what you do, like really, which brings gratitude, it brings awareness, it brings compassion and love, and being conscious of your actions, like, oh, I'm picking up this notepad, okay, this is what I'm doing, like super aware of it. That is great, but that is still working in your conscious mind. Is still working in what's the frontal part of your brain, right? But we're not connecting so much to the back, which usually is what we will refer to is as the subconscious mind, which is the hidden part. Now, I'll be talking, most of what we're talking about is really working with the mind, because that really is that's how we are getting clear in what we want and desire. And that's how we will start taking the actions that we want to get what we desire, right? And so the thing is that a lot of people sometimes forget that the subconscious is so, so strong, and there is so much power and so much potential that we have over it, so that we are not what we feel being controlled by it, or in a sense, if you're here, being controlled by our past or by our pain, or by feeling like we're a victim, being pretty much a slave of what happens around us, right? Because a lot of us sometimes feel that I'm doing all the things but nothing works. I feel like there's some outside energy that is away or outside of me that is blocking me. And it is not so much that, it's really we are blocking ourselves, our mind is blocking us. But it's not so much it's blocking us because it's mean. There is a role and a purpose, and I'll tell you more about it later. But so the kind of work that I've been doing is really connecting with the subconscious mind. And some of you guys already know, and I've talked to you. And in fact, I had a couple sessions with you, some of you. And that is really connecting at a deeper level to access, okay, to access the root cause of what is holding you back. So I'll tell you that in a little bit as well. I'm gonna have to drink some hot tea because it's my my throat is a little scratchy and it's kind of cold at the same time, even though the sun is up. So connecting with the subconscious mind and knowing exactly what it has, or the messages that it has, what is the root cause of the belief, the false belief, the thing that we don't like or we don't want, and how to reframe it, how to change it around, how to transform it and reprogram our mind. So one of the things that I do is by using hypnosis, and I'll tell you more about that as well. And then it's really part of that is regression or regressing back to about 3 or 4 scenes in which we are reviewing, which is not exactly feeling the same. However, we will experience a little bit of, maybe if it was a painful event, sadness or whatever comes through, but we will view that experience as if we're watching a movie, and then we'll be in a better place to understand and get the messages that we need to get from those events. And then how can we change it around? How can we reprogram it? So that's what I've been working on in the last few months, and it's been amazing. It's been such an awakening for a lot of us, including myself, and I'm very, very honored to be part of it for the many people that having come into hypnosis as a tool, because it's not only their healing, but it is a well my healing, because I always feel that when we help ourselves, we're also helping other people. So I ask, and also be reassured that if you don't get to work with me as I am helping myself, part of that energy is coming to you and giving you this feeling of healing and enlightenment, in a sense. All right. So I wanted to tell you that I'll be offering you working with me. It is a one-on-one coaching experience. It is not in group. Maybe in the future I'll have a group session, but for now it is one-on-one, in which you're working with me privately for a month. I have two different sources, but it's basically having a session with me, a hypnotic session. Then you'll get a recording, you'll get full support for the whole month. There's another version or option if you want to work longer than that, but I'll tell you more about that at the end. Or you can DM me and send me a message, or DM me on Instagram. I'm like, because I do videos on Instagram all the time, so I'm thinking I'm on Instagram right now. And so we can go deeper in how can that help you in really finding the clarity that you desire. Because I've seen hypnosis in general, and together with coaching, helping so many people in so many different ways, that I didn't even know were a problem to some people. All right. So I just wanted to get that out of the way and be super clear and transparent, because that's what's coming up, you guys. All right. So what we are learning today, so I'm just going to go back to, okay, because I have also a couple of things that I didn't want to forget for later tonight. Okay, so what we're working to, or we'll be talking today, is how can we get clarity, right? Clarity. Because a lot of people have been asking, Wendy, I don't know, like I feel like I'm doing all the things, but nothing is working, or I feel like I am, something's wrong, because tell me this is you, okay? Because this was me when I started my business as well. And whenever you start a new endeavor, whenever you start a new project, it really is, let's say business, right? It really brings a lot about yourself. So you get to heal yourself before you start a new project, in this case, business. So when I started, it brought up so many things that made me really doubt and question about myself. And so I got to work on myself first. And so one of the things that I did was like buying all the programs, signing up for all the coaching programs, all the tutors, not tutors, mentors and coaches privately, one-on-one. I got to read so many books that I still haven't finished the majority of them. And so I always felt like, oh, I know this. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Like everybody talks about that. And then I felt like I think I know, but how come I'm not feeling a difference? Like, tell me if this has been you at some point, right? Like I felt like I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm doing all the things. And not only that, but one of the things that we tend to do is compare ourselves with the other people. And so we feel, and we see that everybody's getting success. Everybody is getting what they want. They're finding love. They're finding money, or not finding, but they're getting money in their careers. But I'm like, nothing's happening. So of course, number one is really getting to work with yourself is the number one thing that will really change and magnetize what you desire. So for you, because if you're here, that's what you really want for this year. So for you and for me as well, right? Because this kind of work, it never ends. And so if you're here, one of the things that got you here is, well, 2020 has been a little tough, right? Like I know this has been the conversation for so many people, that 2020 has been tough. And even before that year, 2020, I've had a challenging life. It's been so uncertain. full of trauma. And I know so many people, especially women, who have been suffering from trauma, past trauma, whether it is relationships, whether it is personal childhood trauma, or even financial trauma as well. And so what now, right? Like a lot of us think and feel, what do I do now? And so with 2020, what has happened, and I know a lot of people, and the reason why I keep going back and referencing that is because the number one thing that in what we're living right now, how people are feeling right now on January 22nd, there's so many things that have happened. We just had, again, we had last year the election, the change of government that we just had a couple of days ago, and then the whole year 2020, or at least since March, it's brought up so many things up to the surface. A lot of wounds had come up, a lot of fears for so many people. And so how we're feeling or being right now, it really is still a little sore. It is still a little, like tender to the touch, because we're still kind of not sure what is going on, with the vaccine, with are we supposed to still stay at home, sheltering in place, what is going to happen to me and my job. So many things that are still happening that people are still not sure how to deal with it. And then on top of that, as with any new year happens, we start thinking, oh, what are my what is that I don't use anymore? Oh, resolutions. So I'm supposed to have resolutions. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make up. And what I call them is more like my intentions and and goals sometimes. But before getting so ahead of ourselves, before thinking and worrying about it, and I'll be coming back with another masterclass or some sort of training for you guys about anxiety and overwhelm, because that's something that a lot of people are still suffering, right? And so what we get to do now is really review about what happened in 2020 and before, and then see in what areas has those changes affected you. Like, be super clear. Don't tell me right now if you don't want to, because I know that this might take time, and then I know that it can be a little well, uncomfortable for some people. But and most of the time when I ask people questions, I really ask you so that you can answer that to yourself, because only you are the one who is doing the work for yourself. I'm here as a guide, and so I want you to be super honest with yourself, and not so much to make it sound better and pretty for me, right? So so the thing is that this last year in 2020, a lot of things resurfaced, right? A lot of old wounds came up, old beliefs, old fears, they all came back up again. And old ways of thinking that made us think that either the past is coming back or that we are not safe anymore and what's going to happen. So uncertain about our future. And now, really, it is the perfect time to change. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I want you to remember. If there's, I mean, there will be a few things that I'll remind you to keep in mind, write it down. But some of the things that I really want to make sure that you understand and that you keep in mind is that the number one thing for your mind to do, the number one job for your mind, is not to make you happy. It is to keep you safe. So from when we are babies, when we come into this life, the number one thing, the one job, the one role for your mind is really to keep you safe. It is not to make you happy and to give you, like comfortable feelings, or to give you not even love. And it's kind of, I will say, sad when you learn about this, but the number one job for your mind is to keep you safe. And really, if you think about it, because we are humans and we evolve, throughout so many thousands of years, right? We go back right now, this version, it is a more modern version, more awakened at the same time because of all the events that has happened throughout history. But if we go back to the past, to our very first primitive selves, our brain, right, it became to be and operate in a way to keep that person safe from predators or from danger when they were out in the world, right? There wasn't shelter sometimes, or there wasn't food around. And so the primitive mind, that's what they call the primal way of existence, is really to keep that person safe. And so their beliefs, what they had to do, because at the end your beliefs will create your thoughts and your actions. They were all around being or staying safe, staying alive, continue the project, right? So it's not about being happy. So I want you to remember that. Now I said that it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it is good to know that, because it is up to us to make it clear for the mind about what we want. Okay. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. So again, if you're clear in what it is that you want, the number one thing that your mind is going to do, and I'll tell you that also in a little bit, is really to keep you safe. So you got to make sure that you feel safe and you tell your mind that you're safe. Okay. And so the number one thing also that we need to have in order to create abundance, create love, create, I want to go over some of the things that people commented on when I asked them, is to get more success, have more money, being successful in my business, have a better relationship with my parents, better relationship with my spouse, heal from the past, getting healthier. These are some of the things that I'm reading about people who've been wanted to, because I asked you guys in an email and a poll on Instagram about what it is that people desire in this year. Getting healthier, better relationships. Those are the most common things. Being more confident, and also letting go of the past. And so the number one thing in order for us to have all of these things is really to have clarity, because if your mind is not clear, it's not going to create the space, or basically if we don't create the space for it, the mind is not going to have that space to make things happen, to bring things in. And a simple example is, if you are, let's say you have a busy day and you're running around and you're like so busy that you don't even take a break, and then you have so many things in your mind, there's so much chatter that probably you forgot something important. Let's say going to the pharmacy and get, I don't know, like something for you, or forgot someone's birthday. Sometimes we forget important things when our mind is so cluttered. And so again, when we are in such a busy world, and keeping ourselves so busy, the mind is going to overlook other things, because it's always trying to keep you safe, keep you okay. And a mind that is cluttered is not safe or steady or stable. So just keep that in mind. And that's why sometimes if you follow me on social media, sometimes I share my lifestyle of morning rituals, having a good quiet morning for myself, and journaling, really, I wouldn't say completely emptying my mind, but getting rid of the thoughts that I don't need, that don't support me and don't serve me. And one of the things that I'm doing, and I was writing about today, was this weekend what I'll do is cleaning not just my physical space, like my I need to clean out my office. You can see a little bit that is a little messy. I'm going to clean out my house, my bedroom, get rid of things that I don't need or I don't use, because I know a lot of us sometimes hold on to things because we think we will use them at some point. I'll be cleaning out my inbox. There's like, I have, honestly, you guys, I'm not lying to you, I have like over 4,000 emails in 2 different accounts. And I have 2 other more that I haven't even opened. So cleaning all that physical form and the things that are not there, but are still energetically holding me, right? So tell me if you can relate to that. Give me a one again if you relate, and two, maybe two means that I'm crazy and I'm the only one here. So in order for us to gain clarity, we got to clear the space and let go. And in our case, because we're looking for emotional freedom, is letting go of the past, letting go of what doesn't they don't provide anything to us anymore, that is in getting in the way and doesn't help anymore. So again, clarity equals or leads to desire. All right. So then again, I told you a little bit about what are the most common things that I'm seeing, but in general, the most common things that hold us back or that make us feel that we're stuck, because really that's the feeling. Physically, it's not happening because you're still able to move, or even if you want to, and if you have the money, let's say you can get out, go to Bali, have a retreat, go to Hawaii and enjoy the sun and the beaches, if we could, without, if there wasn't COVID. But emotionally we feel stuck, right? We feel numb, we feel frozen, that we can move, we can do or say anything, and we say something, people are going to judge us, we think that everybody's watching us, and we pretty much are not taking any action, meaning that months and years and years and years and over years we're still in the same place, and that is not good, because I always feel that in order for us to grow, we got to change. And every year, every month, every single day, guys, every hour, even every minute, like right now, I hope that with the things that I'm telling you, you are little bit by little bit, you're becoming different and in a sense more aware of what's happening than when we started like 40 minutes ago. So some of the things that are keeping us held back, keeping us stuck, what we think is stuck, are past wounds, childhood trauma, not feeling supportive or supported by our partners or family in general. That is also sometimes traumatic, not feeling safe or feeling alone. Those are the things that, oh, to my heart, I always say I do not want anyone, any woman feeling that they're lonely or they're going through this alone and there's no way of getting out of it. So, how do we come back? Right? Why do we come back to the same? How do we come back to the same feeling stuck? Because it feels like it is a tug war between the mind, right? Like the conscious mind that here's your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is telling you, I want to find love. I want to be in a loving relationship. I want to have success in my career. I want to feel abundant and happy. I want to feel healthy and all of that. These are all the things that I want. That really pretty much is your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is what is giving you or intending to give you what you want. But then your subconscious mind on the other side is kind of telling you, no, you can't. No, you won't do that because that's scary. That's challenging. You're getting out of your comfort zone. Because again, guys, your subconscious mind is trying to keep you safe. And one of the things that happens when you take a risk, when you take and move on to a project, when you do something that is completely different, even if it is fun and exciting, your mind is going to be like, what is going on? You're doing something different. This is not the usual. You're getting out of your comfort zone. That's danger. And again, it is because it wants to keep you safe. And now, if we are stuck in a thought or in a belief from the past, it's because that way of believing has helped us in the past at being safe. And I'll tell you that. Actually, I'll tell you that right now. One of the most common things that I see in women or in people, but most of them have been women, when I've been holding space for them in hypnosis, is that they have gone through some sort of childhood drama. Okay, childhood trauma at the same time, like the most common thing is feeling abandoned by their parents, especially their dad. And so one of the things that I find is that, let's say this one woman, for instance, she couldn't move forward in her career right now. And so she's like, I don't know why I'm feeling stuck. I'm trying all the things, I'm not confident. And so anyway, we went back in time, and one of the things that has happened is that she couldn't speak up. She didn't feel like she could speak up. She couldn't speak up now in the present. In the past, she completely shut down. She was quiet in school. She was bullied. And to anyone, it will make sense to think, oh, well, like she's isolated. She doesn't feel comfortable because she was bullied at school, because she was different. So there could be so many things that we can make up, right? And even she told me at the beginning, I think I know why I am not confident right now. I can't speak up in public or speak up about my business. And that is because when I was little, I was made fun of. And so I'm not confident. Makes sense. But then we went deeper and deeper, and we found out that one of the deepest, the reasons that how that started, that belief that speaking wasn't a good thing for her. Not only that her dad was not at home, he abandoned them, but also it was that one, I think it happened twice, when she spoke a truth about her sister, they everybody got in trouble. And she thought, and she was the youngest of three, I think, and she thought she had to do the right thing, which was to tell the truth. I think the sister was lying or something, like, or she got pregnant, I can't remember. And she told her mom. And so but then telling her mom, that really meant, wow, the sister's gonna get in trouble, because obviously you can't hide a pregnancy, but that opened up a whole can of different issues, right? So because everybody got quote unquote in trouble, and obviously she was seen as the person who's telling right on her sister, she thought, oh my gosh, if I say something, if I speak up, I'm gonna get in trouble. People around me are gonna get hurt. And then I know I'm sharing some of this, and there's a lot more, but this also, guys, includes even sexual trauma. A lot of people that have seen who have gone through sexual trauma, a lot of them are not able to say much, and that's because there's some sort of wounding from the past, right? That is not allowing them to break free because they're still not feeling safe if they do. Meaning that if they speak up, they're not going to feel safe because someone is going to get hurt, they might get hurt again. So for them, it's better to stay quiet. But then, as we all know, being quiet and suffering with that in our body, in our mind, in our heart for so many years, because a lot of this has happened in the past, it is not fair and it is not a way of living. I'm telling you, it is not. And I really want you to understand this. When it comes to your healing, the only person who can really break yourself is you. I'm only here to guide you, to provide a safe space, a safe container, to give you the tools and really to allow you to see yourself and your potential in that you can heal yourself and not to be a victim of your past any longer. So for us really to understand is that's a subconscious mind. And why am I telling you all of this is because your subconscious mind, I want you guys to understand that it has so much for us to learn from. There is so much power and potential, but yet we don't use it. They say it's just like, I'm sure you've seen a picture of the iceberg, right? Your conscious mind, your awareness is at the very top, is the very tip of it. And everything else that you don't see that is below the water is so huge, humongous, is everything that you're not seeing, but it can catch you by surprise, right? Like Titanic. So the same thing about our subconscious mind is so big that we don't even utilize. I think it's 98, 95% that we don't utilize of our potential that resides in the subconscious mind. And most of the time we disregard it. And most of the time people don't talk good things about it. They think, oh, my fears, my mind is blocking me. And I'm like, no, 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 it's your feeling that you're being blocked. That is true. Your feeling is what you're creating in your conscious mind. But your subconscious has so much power that once you unlock it, you're able to really utilize it for your own benefit. So that's why we always sometimes feel if we're being stuck and we're going back to the past, is because it's the subconscious mind that is creating that. But it's really trying to keep you safe, and for us to understand the reason why you needed to be safe, right? Let's say if you are uh like if it is hard for you to get healthy or to get into a proper weight for you that is ideal for you, right? And it's been so difficult, you have tried all the things, all the programs, and you are not able to achieve your goals. I'm talking right now about weight. It could be any kind of goal. There could be some sort of root cause that has happened, took place so long ago that your mind thought, oh my gosh, no, that is not safe for you. Here, another example I'll tell you before we move on. There was this lady who was overweight, quite overweight, not just a little, a little chunky, but quite overweight. And that really wasn't so much about being overweight, but it was more about her health being compromised. So when she decided to take on hypnosis and did the regression to see exactly why is it that she couldn't lose the weight, right? And she tried so many things. And what has happened, and again, oh my gosh, I wish this was like a regular conversation that we could have every day, because there's so many examples that I'm finding out about all of this that is so amazing to learn and really have more compassion with so many people, because we don't know really what happened to many of us. But for this lady, and I'm saying that because it just also came into my mind another case about it too. So for this lady, what happened when she was super young, she was, I think, 6 years old. She was so little, so tiny that I think she was the youngest of four. And her parents, she was kind of, like hyper, like always, jumping around, being loud and all that. And the parents were kind of fed up because they were so stressful. It was so stressful at home with everybody, right? And the three older kids, they were struggling in school. And so they took, like they left her in her bedroom, and said, you're not coming out until you calm down. And they locked her in, and they turned out the lights, so she was in the dark. And obviously, like any kid, the dark is not a fun place to be, right? And then you will say, well, why don't you turn on the lights? The thing is that she was so tiny that she couldn't even jump in, she couldn't reach the switch, the light switch. And so for her, in her mind, that was just one example. Another memory that came up, another scene, event from the past that came up, is that she was so small. Well, that was later in her age, that she was still skinny, like petite, and when she was out with her friends, she was one of the smallest. And so some guys, some kids on the streets, were teasing them, bullying them. And but they didn't go to her friends, they went to her, and they were molesting her because she was prettier and, like, had better body frame or something like that. And so she felt that her body being in that way was attracting the man, but in the wrong way. So for her, in her mind, the mind what was creating is that being small wasn't good, or being in this type of shape wasn't good because it's attracting the wrong people, or being small is not good because you're not safe, you can turn on the light, you're going to be scared. So what do? You go the opposite, right? Your mind is going to create, well, if you don't want to, because that's not being safe. Being on the streets with guys who are molesting you is not safe. Being in a dark room all on your own and you're freaking out and you're scared, that is not safe either. So your mind is going to drive you towards safety. And so what's going to happen? This is just kind of like a dialogue, right? Your mind's going to be, okay, let's make it bigger. And so without her consciousness, she started eating, overeating, overeating. So she started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And obviously, you know where that goes, right? So those are just examples of sometimes we don't understand so much about our mind, our past and our mind, and how it's operating, and how that in a sense creates our actions now today. So that's why sometimes I feel that going to the past, in a sense, is a good way for us to gather information, to be the detectives that we get to be, so that we don't have this towel war, this feeling stuck sensation that is cluttering our mind. Because the mind, here's the thing, the mind will always, because its job is to keep you safe, it will want you to always go back to that. And here's the thing too, the mind will get you back to what is known. And sometimes that's why sometimes we get repetitive patterns. If you've been in relationships with the same type of men who are not available, who are violent, or who are treating you in the same way, and you wonder, why do I keep attracting these guys? And maybe you heard, it's not you attracting them, or it's not that all guys are like that, is that your mind is somehow feeling that familiarity around that environment, that relationship. So even if it is not ideal for you or for your subconscious mind, it is something that it knows, right? It's not the ideal, but it's something that is known, and it is in a way safe. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a bit. So so we get to have a connection between both the subconscious and the conscious. Again, your subconscious is what's keeping you safe, the conscious is what you want and desire, but it does it in a messy way because it doesn't have the foundation. It's just going by what's happening in the moment. Okay. And sometimes what happens in the moment is just like, there's no, either there's no planning, or there is too much planning, too much taking control of things, right? That's also part of the conscious mind. Oh, I gotta plan things, I gotta make sure that everything is under control. That sometimes still is operating in a different system. It's like like the top floor of a building, and your subconscious is at the basement. So how is it going to operate all on its own? We get to have a connect between the two. So in order for us to heal and let go, we really get to understand how the mind works and have a better communication with the mind as well. Because let me ask you this. All right. If you guys are not having what you want, and that is by all these things that I see on the list, or all the things that you're thinking right now, like if you don't have the relationship that you want, if you don't have the relationship with your parents that you desire to have, if you don't have the income, the success, the money, if you don't have achievement or you don't feel achievement in your career, if you're getting sick all the time, I'm just going by the things that I've gotten from you guys, then like stop for a second and ask yourself, what exactly are you telling your mind? Are you telling your mind that, oh my gosh, life is so hard, all men suck, like all men are, or all relationships are bad, or that I am rejected or will be rejected all my life, or that I am stuck with this lifetime for this in my life forever and I have no way out. Or I don't want to disappoint people. Those are the common things that sometimes people have, because um one of the things that we do as human, and especially for us women, is that we always want to protect, take care of people first before taking care of ourselves. And so I always say, you get to take care of yourself first if you want to be better for other people as well. So here's the thing, to manifest what you really, really, really want, again, that being all the things that you have here: more clients, more money, more success, relationships, abundance, health, happiness, even, even some people have said, oh, I'm okay with what I have now, but what I want is a better body. I mean, at the end, it really is what, being clear with what you want. It doesn't matter how you want to get it. It does in a sense matter, but we are not there yet if we don't have clarity. And so if you want a better body, then still have the clarity, but then also what exactly it is that we need to dig in to get what you want, because obviously that has to do with maybe diet or maybe exercise and or being consistent. I had some people saying, I'm not getting what I want because I'm not consistent, I'm not organized, I'm not in that space of having it. So to manifest what you really, really want, and I told you that we need to have clarity, right? So how do we get that? Is by understanding the mind. And here's the thing about the mind as well. And I'll tell you this thing that also I want you to remember. Maybe these are three things. I'm going to tell you three things, foundational rules of the mind that I want you to remember. Okay. And remembering these things will also help you, even if you don't, if you, the only thing that you take away from this, and you write down these three things so you remember them, and even if you don't do anything else, having these three rules of the mind in mind will help you to have that clarity in a sense as well. All right, so number one, okay, which I'm sure probably you know what this could be, is really being okay, before that, I almost said it. So again, this foundational rules of the mind is really to reinforce that communication, having that better connection to the mind and talking, speaking its language, having, being clear, right? So there's that connection, because again, when you build a relationship with something or someone, things happen, right? Like let's say you have a really good friend and you have a very strong relationship, um things are more fluid, right? Things happen a better way. Even with your pets, I have my babies. Some of you guys know my babies because they follow them on social media, and you know, I got a couple of you guys like Lynn and then Claudia and a couple other people who you know me more, like more personally, and you know that they are my love, they are my babies. And so building a connection with them, it makes me understand what it is that they want, even without, obviously they don't talk, but in my mind I'm feeling they're talking to me. Makes me have that better connection, that I know exactly what they need, I know how to take care of them, I know what makes them happy. Even just one look, how we look at ourselves, I feel that strong bond. And I'm sure they feel the same about me. So when you build a relationship with something or someone, or even an experience, right, you get exactly what you desire. There's, when there's communication, there's understanding. So number one, tell your mind exactly and specifically what you want. Again, here's the thing, I told you a little while ago, your mind really is going to create what you want, right? But also it wants to keep you safe. But if you tell it what you want, let's say you want a better relationship, okay, if you're clear about what that relationship is like, what exactly is like, how you want it to happen, how you're going to be in that relationship, because the most important thing that I feel a lot of people forget when it comes to manifesting is how we are being. I've seen so many people getting, you know, the paper and pen and writing down their list like every new moon. If you're into moon lifestyle and you are with me with the moon rituals and all, Maybe you get into your list and then you write down, I want more money, I want this handsome man, and you write a checklist, right, of all the things that you want. I want a brand new car, I want a brand new house, I want to have two kids, and so on and so forth. And we forget that there is not just writing on a piece of paper, but there is a deeper intention that comes from the heart. And that intention is really how we're being in that moment, how we're experiencing that, what we desire. And if again, you follow me in social media, and if you do not, go and follow me on Instagram at Wendy for Wellness, because I share more things there. If you've been following me, sometimes I do talk about like deeper about this, about embodying that person who you desire to be. One of my new this new year's, I'm looking for this journal that I recently bought. It's a tiny one. One of my practices that I'm doing, and if you know me, you know that I write a lot, I journal a lot, but what I'm doing now is I'm writing a separate journal of my future life, meaning I am already living it. So let's say I want to like grow my business and travel around, run from anywhere, and being super healthy and wake up super excited and everything, which maybe it is not exactly what I'm doing right now, but in that journal, I'm writing down exactly how Wendy is waking up every morning and living her life. And I'm speaking in the present, so I'm saying, "Oh my gosh, it feels so good to wake up at whatever time I want, do a workout, go out to nature, walk in nature, gather with women around me who are like-minded, and then have coaching calls, making six figures, seven figures, traveling around the world and helping people, hosting retreats, and so on." So I'm writing it as it is already happening, because that only that exercise of writing it makes me so much excitement that really pushes me, and it really feels good to do the things that I'm doing, even if I'm still waking up here in California, and I'm not in Bali. Even if I'm still, like waking up at like 7 o'clock to go to work some days, and but then I'm feeling good doing it because I know that my future Wendy is going to get there. And also this requires trust. So if you are here sitting and telling me, you're questioning, well, Wendy, how is that going to happen? Well, I'm telling you, it takes trust. It takes letting go of taking control of things. All right. And also trust me, I'm still going through that because I'm still holding on to some stuff. But really be specific about what you want, not just writing it on a piece of paper, but also specifically how you want to feel and be with that what you want. Whether that is, again, I don't want to keep repeating, but all the things that people have listed and what you keep in mind right now. Tell your mind, right? Like if I want to be healthy, and here's the thing too, and a lot of people make this mistake, okay, when it comes to resolutions, especially now, like early in the year, it's January, and people say, oh, okay, I want to lose weight, right? That's the most common thing. And then especially after or after not COVID because it's still going, but especially after being at home for so long, a lot of people have gained weight. What is that called? Like pandemic weight or whatever. And people have gained weight, so they want to lose it, get healthier and all that, and people are like, oh my gosh, I want to lose 10 pounds, but then at the same time you're eating your chocolate cake. Well, and I know a lot of people will say, oh, you can have all the life you want and have success and happiness and eat the cake too, right? Like there's a meme or something about it. True, but then again, your mind will do what you want it to do. You really got to understand that your mind will do what you want it to do, even if your mind is still trying to keep you safe, but you get to tell it how you are feeling safe. And I'll tell you that in number two. But for now, if you want to lose weight, why are you telling your mind you want to lose weight when you're also telling your mind that you love chocolate cake and you're going to have it? So those are two different thoughts. So those are conflicting thoughts. It's like if I tell you in person and I say, here, I give you money, go to the store and get me, like something to cook dinner. But then at the same time, I'm telling you to go to McDonald's. Like I tell you to go to the store and get healthy food, right? Organic, veggies and everything. But then at the same time, I'm telling you, go to McDonald's and buy me, I don't know, what's their $1 meal, whatever. Like, what are you going to do? And I'm telling you, like, do it right now, right? Like I'm being you and you're being my mind. And I'll tell you right now, we need to eat, go get me, we need to eat healthy. So go get me like celery, go get me veggies, get me, like all organic food, but also get me a $1 meal from McDonald's. You're going to be like, wait, which one is what? Like, what do I do? Right. And so it's not a good feeling. And your mind, even though it is nothing that we can touch or measure, we can measure brain waves, we can measure brain activity, but we cannot so much measure our thoughts. But trust me, it is that. I mean, people say that, oh, is that why I'm having a headache? I don't know, maybe. But the only way to measure is by our emotions. When we connect to our emotions, how does that really feel? Ooh, it doesn't feel good when you think about two opposing things, right? So be very specific about what you want. Number two, here's another thing that I want you to remember, you guys. The mind loves the familiar. And here it is, this is it's going to resonate, okay? Because when I say that your mind loves the familiar, and of course, keeping in mind that it also wants to keep you safe, that's why we go back to the same old loop feeling stuck. And here's why. Because changes, whatever changes that we want, right? We want to get a better job, we want a better relationship, that is unfamiliar, that is new, and we haven't communicated to the mind that that is a good thing yet. So your mind is going to stay in that same loop over and over if it is about relationship, because that's one of the things that I got in an email that I sent out. Someone not having a good relationship in the past, and in fact being in an abusive relationship. One of the patterns that happens there is that that is familiar, and including myself, right? That I have been in relationships with men who are about the same, they have the same behavior, they're not available, so it's the same pattern. Why do I people will say, why do you keep going back to the same man? I'm like, I don't know. Because the mind knows that that is familiar and that is quote unquote safe. But then also, obviously, I know what you're thinking. You're gonna be like, well, Wendy, how is that safe if you're in an abusive relationship? Of course it's not safe. I'm not telling you it is safe, but your mind know it is familiar, and your mind knows that to change it is going to be unfamiliar. And what happens when you are in an unfamiliar place, scenario, place, or yeah, in an unfamiliar situation that is uncertain, because you don't know what it's going to be like, right? You don't know what it's going to be like. So it is rather better to stay in something that you already know, even if it is painful, even if it is uncomfortable, if it is violent, because stepping out of it is not familiar. And when it's not familiar, it is not safe. It is not certain. It is not something that you are guaranteed love and happiness. So for the mind, and I know it's a little tough to understand because you will be like, why is my mind like that then? Again, I'm telling you, it's not your fault. It is nothing about you that you're doing wrong. It is how, for all of us, there's no one who escapes from this. Your mind will always get what you want when you're clear, and also get what is familiar to you. And when I say familiar, it's something that has already happened in the past when we were babies, or even before we were born, when we were in our mom's womb. And so, again, stepping out of that relationship, even if we really completely 100% want to step out of it, and be free and finally find happiness, or at least not be in that violent relationship and not knowing what's going to happen, part of our mind is going to question, right? And so you're going to be questioning, like deciding what to do, what not to do, until you finally step out of it. And don't feel that you don't feel bad about it either, because really it is you breaking yourself out of that shell. But really connect back with your mind, and then analyze and realize that your choices, you will always do the choices that are best for you. I always trust that. Okay, I always trust that our experiences are really leading us to where we need to be, even if it sometimes is painful. But then in that moment, it is, how can we step out of this free? How can I take that lesson and not be in that loop? Now, here's what I want to tell you. Okay. And this is a little practice that I want you to do so they can give you that clarity that you want. So on a sheet of paper, obviously not small like this, get a bigger paper, like split the paper in two, right? Like one half to the right and the left. And what you will do is on one side, okay? Sorry, you guys. I only slept like 5 hours. On one side, you're going to, on the left side, you're going to be writing down the things that you don't want. Sorry, the things that are familiar, but also that you don't want. So the things that you want to change. Because again, if you're here, it's because you're interested in changing the reality and getting something better, getting in a better place. So let's say you want to lose weight, you want to be in a better relationship. So all the things are familiar right now, right? Like I am 10 pounds heavier. Okay, though they will be the familiar things. I am 10, this is the reality right now. Okay, 10 pounds heavier. I am stuck in my job. I'm not making money. I am still single. I'm not in a good relationship. I am in a violent relationship. I am feeling lonely. I am getting sick all the time. What else? I am not connected to my purpose. I am struggling with getting pregnant and so on. So you will write down all the things that are familiar to you. So, in a sense, they are the things that you want to change. Okay. And then on the other side, you will write to change. Think about, don't think so much, oh, this is what I really want, but think about what is unfamiliar. So if let's say you are in an abusive relationship or in a relationship you don't want to be, that is familiar to you right now. So what is unfamiliar? Being in a very loving relationship, right? Being in a relationship that is respectful, being with someone who not only loves you and respects you, but also cherishes you and supports you and holds you back and is here for you because you deserve it. So really being very specific about what you want, which is for now unfamiliar. And now, when you finish that, you look at the two sheets, but remember keeping in mind that all that you want and up until now, because I'm feeling and I'm really believing that you're getting these messages and you're getting the signal to take action, to make something happen, to make all these things that are unfamiliar become real and familiar. And I know it's a lot of like playing with words, but basically what happens is since your mind loves the familiar, what do we need to do? Make that what we want become familiar to us or to our mind. If you want to lose weight, and then make that desire of being, I don't know, 120 pounds or whatever, make that familiar. Losing the weight, making it familiar. Okay. If you want to be in a loving relationship, what do you need to do? You need to make that thought, that belief familiar and not think so much, oh my gosh, all men suck, right? Make it familiar that you are already in a loving relationship. And then flip it, basically. You need to flip it and change it around. Meaning, let's say, oh, I wish I had a board or something. Let's say if you want to, pay your debt and have more money, right? And that's like a struggle right now. Well, make that unfamiliar, meaning having to struggle for money, having to work hard, make that unfamiliar. And then on the other side, what you make familiar is having so much money in abundance and being debt free. So really it is a game of the mind of switching the roles and change it so that what is right now familiar becomes unfamiliar. So basically what you don't want becomes unfamiliar, so your mind gets it out of your awareness, and what you really want, make it familiar, so that your mind is like, oh, okay, so this is what we are looking at because this is familiar. This is what I know. So think of it when you have a little child. Sometimes I think of the mind as being a little kid. It's bratty sometimes, like a little, like uh, troublemaker, but really will do what you tell it to do. Sometimes it's just out of order, like it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't have ground rules to live by, but you tell it exactly what you want and what to do. So a little child, they'll be comfortable with somebody they know, right? And they will be uncomfortable with somebody they don't know. But if you tell the kid who to trust, who to know, who to understand, or talk to, they'll do that. And also, if you tell the kid who do not trust and not to talk to, and so on, they'll also believe that. So really, at the end, this is all in your power, on you. All right. And let me know once you do this exercise. And if you need further help, please tell me and we can talk about it. I'm really, and I do this often actually because it really brings into perspective my daily habits. So I really would love to talk to you guys more about this. So if you have questions, you want to go over your list and share your things, because another thing that happens when you are healing is when we share, when we are sharing all of this, we're expanding as well. So number three, this is the other thing that is another rule of the mind, is that your mind will respond to two things. Okay, your mind will always respond to two things. Very simple. Number one is the picture that you have in your head, and number two, it is the words that you say to yourself. And this is something very common about people when they manifest, is visualizing and speaking, right? In a way, in a certain way. And that is really, whether it's meditation and just walking around, it's really visualizing in your mind that lifestyle that you want to have. What is that picture like? Like if you want to be in a loving relationship, what does that really look like? So get into this practice. Here's another practice that you can do when you can. Best thing is early in the morning. So get into the habit of when you wake up, you can take out, go outside for a little bit, go and walk in the sun if still sunny, or connect to something that is very grounding. For me, it's nature. And having that vision, having that picture already made in your mind. Oh my gosh, when I am successful, I already look like this. And I shared a little while ago, I'll be traveling, working from anywhere. I'll be my own boss. I'll be debt free. I'll be able to help other people as well, because another thing that I want to do is also create foundations, create or help people who need homes in different parts of the world. And so a lot of things that I want to do and have. How am I going to be? And I feel that I wish I had it in hand, because it's a cute little journal. And I feel like that journaling, my future self, is really helping picturing that what I want, that desire. And then number two, what are the words? Again, be conscious of using positive affirming words, catching yourself when you say I want and I need, right? I know we use that a lot, we got so used to it. But saying always that you want something is really keeping you in that loop of wanting forever, because your mind will give you what you want, right? So if you want, let's say, oh my gosh, I want money, your mind's going to be like, oh, you want. Your mind is not going to focus in the next thing after the verb. Like if you look at the sentence, your mind is not going to focus on the, what would that be, the object. It will focus on the verb. It's not going to focus on the result. It's going to focus in what it is that you are using in that moment, your verb, right? How you want to do it. So your mind's going to be, it's like your mind's going to be, oh, you want something, okay, I'll keep you wanting it. There, wish granted, right? The same thing is like, oh, I need to get a job, right? And your mom your mind is gonna be like, oh, you need something, okay, I'm gonna keep you needing it. So instead of that, again, using affirmations that are more into the present, and as if act and be as if you already have it. Like, I have this job that I'm working right now, even if you're not there yet. But really, again, guys, I cannot stress this enough, that feel that experience, because that feeling is what's going to be attracting more of that. Oh, my throat is getting dry. Ah, there's the baby. Hi, mama. There's little baby. Her name is Kiari. For some of you who are asking, thank you. Yes, she's precious. She's a diluted calico, which is crazy. I never heard of that. But basically, she's not full calico because she has mostly white fur. But my oldest one, I have three babies. Hi. The oldest one, Velcro, she is a true calico. She's bigger too. They're not related. She's 12. She will be 2 in March with her brother Corey. The other one, she's full calico, all the three colors, black, yellow, and white. But this one is more white, so I don't know. It's just precious. Hi, little mama. Hi, mama. All right, let's get back to this. So again, three things super quick. Tell your mind specifically what it is that you want. Your mind loves what is familiar, so make anything that you want become familiar. Okay. And then the third thing would be your mind will only respond to two things: the pictures that you create in your head and the words that you say to yourself. That's why I always talk about talking to yourself. Really, guys, I cannot stress this enough, right? And here's the thing: when you heal, because I know a lot of us want to heal, and that's a word that I think sometimes is overused, but I'm using it here because we're not just healing the emotional part, because I did tell you that we are healing the emotional aspects to achieve freedom, but we're also healing. Some people want to heal the physical part as well. Hi, mama. So in order for us to heal, we let it go, right? And we really get to trust that it is working. We really get to trust. And when you overthink too much, you're really trying so hard to get it, things most likely are not going to happen because we're really pushing our subconscious to the side, because your subconscious mind is not going to work or respond. All right. We are, again, this is another reminder, we are ruled by the subconscious mind. And when you take away the conscious effort, meaning you are putting the conscious to the side and only really connecting back to your subconscious, your mind will be more clear in knowing what exactly you want, because your conscious is going to be like questioning and saying no, sorry, not having the clarity that what you want. Okay. Now, here's another thing that I want you to remember, that is the most common thing. And this, I will just mention it briefly. I'm not going to go deeper because this is something that I go deeper when I go into my sessions with my clients, when we go into coaching together. Three beliefs that really control our thinking. And sometimes people see them as being negative things, right? Because, in a sense, because again, our mind is keeping us safe. So we are like, oh, so what does that mean, that I'm not safe? Yeah, probably. That's like not being safe is what's that idea of not being safe, what's happening. That's why we don't, our mind is telling us not to take action. So the three beliefs that control a way of thinking or being in a case not seeing the results that we want is that number one, we believe deep inside, and these are the three foundations also of a lot of our past trauma, past beliefs, that what is holding us back. These are the three things that for many people, in what I've seen as well, with childhood trauma, with parental wounding, like feminine, masculine wounding as well, father, mother, abandonment issues, and so on. These are three things that I see that are common for people when they really go down to their core beliefs and finding out what's the reason, the core uh, reason of why something is quote unquote stuck in their mind, right? Number one is that I am not, or sorry, that it is not available to me. That things, what I want, what I desire is not available. Like I want to be happy. It's not happening because it's not there. We don't believe it's available. And so what happens when you don't believe something exists? You just don't try it. Again, this is all on the subconscious level. We don't go about our day saying, oh my gosh. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we think like, well, I'm just stuck here. Why should I even try? Right. But we don't go walk around saying, yeah, I don't deserve money. Like I don't deserve to be loved. I deserve bad relationships. We don't walk around like thinking that way, but our mind does. That's the subconscious, like going around and around thinking that way. Number two, it is that I am different. And so what happens when people feel different, there's that fear that we don't survive. Again, this is a primal instinct, a fear from the past, from our thousands and thousands of generations before us. Okay, that there's that fear of, if we are different, we won't be okay, we are not safe, we won't survive. Quick example: when kids are being bullied, and I personally had been bullied in the past as well, um one of the things that we feel when we're being bullied is that we are different, and so that's why we are being a target, right? That's why we are being prey. So all the other kids are the same. All the other kids could be cool or this or that. And we make up the story in our mind that, oh, like they don't like me. I'm not loved because I'm different. And so what happens when you feel that you're not loved, you're different, you feel there's that scarcity or there's that fear that something is wrong with you. that you don't deserve it, which is number three about the third belief, right? That I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of happiness, success, of what it is that I want. So seeking perfection and happiness, again, not being enough also has to do with seeking perfection and happiness instead of really focusing in the journey. Because people that sometimes, again, this is not something that we walk around thinking or saying, but deep inside is that ongoing wheel turning. And people walk around, not thinking, but in a sense feeling that, oh my gosh, this is so hard, why things aren't happening my way, because they're really wanting to control things instead of really enjoying the journey and really thinking and feeling that however things happen, it is enough in any way whatsoever, right? So again, if the main thing that I want you guys to take away from all of this, okay, and here's one thing that I wanted to stress, and don't be, and I know it's like we're almost like to the top of our time here, but one of the things two things that I wanted to remember out of this. Number one is that whatever it is that you want to desire, really the power is in you. And one of the things that I've been teaching so much in the last few years since I started my journey as well. And I say teaching because even sharing is teaching. Okay. And I didn't even know until people were actually telling me, and I wasn't aware of it, that when I was sharing my story with the cancer diagnosis, oh, my throat, when I was sharing my story of the cancer diagnosis, when I was sharing my story of my upbringings and things that were haunting me from the past and how I felt about the past and so on, and people were saying, oh my gosh, Wendy, thank you so much because I relate so much to your story. I know how that feels. Or like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I wasn't the only one. I thought it was just me. Because a lot of us have grown to thinking or believing that we are in this alone and that we are not, it is not okay for us to open up and share, that it is not okay for us to be vulnerable. And that is a false way of living and being. I feel like for us to really grow out of our shell and heal, we get to really expand and open up. Because suffering, number one, suffering, it is a choice. And number two, if anybody is going through that journey of suffering, it's better to seek help and to open up when we start talking about it. And if you don't feel safe speaking to so many people or even strangers, find someone who can understand you, who either has been there or can understand you, has a compassionate container for you. But also think and remember that if you're going through this challenge, most likely someone, at least one person out there somewhere in the world, is going through the same. And but to tell the truth, there's more than one person. So if you speak up, and if somebody's watching you and they can relate to you, you're being the light for them. You're being the light at the end of the tunnel, or you're being the light bulb in the dark room. You're being the lighthouse for that little boat that is lost in the ocean. So again, a lot of us sometimes underestimate our power, our potential, what it is that we're here to do and provide, and we choose to shut down and we choose to close our blinds, to shut down or lower, dim our light. And I feel like this is not the time, guys. 2021, it really is the year to take action. It is really, for me, and I share this too, this is the year to be decisive about what we want and really take the actions, no hesitation, no waiting around. I feel like 2020, and a perfect example was us in 2020, many of us being in shelter in place and being in a way stuck at home, right? um it was our way of kind of waiting to see what's going to happen, and like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And we were sitting around for so long, too long, way too long. And I feel like 2021 is not the year to be waiting any longer. This is really the year to start taking decisive action, being clear about what it is that you want to have happiness in your life. Okay, how can we do that together? What is holding you back? You want to break free from the past? All right, let's do it together. What is exactly coming back from the past? What do you feel is holding you back? Who are the people who you feel or think that are keeping you stuck? Okay, how can we understand that? How can we break free from them? Because here's the other thing, and I want to take this little time for those of you who are speaking about past trauma or the past coming back up again. if there has to do with people around you, again, parents not being there, abandonment, right? Kids of being bullied by kids, being molested or assaulted when you were little, or anybody being little, and past relationships, trauma from past relationships, and so on. When you get to heal yourself, okay, when you get to heal yourself, you are not just freeing yourself, you're freeing the other person. Because trust me, and I know not a lot of people talk about this, but there is also, I know a lot of people talk about karma, right? And people like, oh, like karma is the bitch, like it'll get you back. I don't like to think of it that way, but what I think about is more like the soul karma, is more about the soul. So I wouldn't want to think that that person or that soul is going to suffer for what they've done. And again, specifically, I'm talking about trauma, right? Whether it's childhood, sexual abuse, any kind of trauma to the person. I'm not thinking or desiring that that person will pay in any way in this life or in another life, but I'm thinking more about their soul not completing their mission. Because and again, I'm more spiritual in this case, and I feel that we all came to here. And when I say we, it's not as in Wendy in this body, in this container. I'm saying we as a soul collective. Our soul came into this world, into this lifetime for something, for a mission. And uh we choose different things in life, and many times we choose things that are not good for us, not good for others, and we end up hurting people, we end up hurting ourselves. So if we deviate from our soul purpose, if we move away, and sometimes really far away, and we cause harm and we hurt people and so on, I feel that there will be more of a soul karma, that someone is going to, I wouldn't say pay for it, but they are going to just completely get away from their sole purpose, and that is painful. It is not the pain that we imagine, as in like burning in hell or anything like that. That I know has been a picture for many of us if we've been in some sort of religious belief, but it's more about being stuck in the limbo kind of thing. I hope it makes sense, because sometimes that's my fear. That was my fear when I was diagnosed with cancer. Like soon after that, was not doing the things, not completing the things that I really wanted to do, not being able to obviously achieve my goals, but not being able to complete some sort of mission. I wasn't, at that time, I wasn't clear what my mission was, but I was clear that I had something important to do. And so the fear was leaving this world, leaving this body, and not being able to do that. That to me is more painful than any other punishment, I guess. So when you heal yourself, you're really healing other people, and especially those who hurt you. And when we work together, if we work together, or when you work on it with anyone, it doesn't matter who you choose. But when you work on it, when you heal the past, when you heal the trauma, the pain, the wound, specifically when you're working with me, because I know many therapeutic modalities. I know for a lot of therapy, the conventional therapy, it is rehashing, right? Like going back, you talk forever. That's why many people have gone through therapy for so long. I know so many people that actually have done that and then come to work with me, or people like me who are coaches or hypnotherapists and working with this technique of rapid transformational therapy, that they can heal and get results like quite fast, not having to spend time like months and months and months or years in therapy, and not having to spend so much money, because I understand. And then time, obviously, right? Oh yeah, already said it. Time, money, and then effort and energy, right? Because it is valuable, all of that is valuable. But when we are really putting the effort in healing, we are really working towards not just our healing, but then we're also freeing these other people who hurt us. And when because when you work with my system, or the way a lot of us work together in this, we are really going and making it so that you see the past events. When I mentioned a few times, right, like there's regression, like working with me and working in this with this tool of hypnosis, let's say, again, you'll be supported with coaching as well, and we go back to finding out the root cause of what is holding you back and breaking free from it. you're not going to be feeling the same thing. It might feel like it, but it is not, because you're in this present moment. And I will reassure you, in that moment, you're in this time and age, right? Like in your 40s, 50s, whatever, however old you are. You're not 17 anymore. You're not 3 years old. You're not even a baby anymore, but you're going to see it almost as if you're watching a movie, and you're going to be going back in time to really uncover what has been covered for so many years, you guys, for so many years. And most of the time we've covered it with like pretty, diamonds and glitter and nice things, and right underneath is a lot of crap, a lot of shit. And that's not a pretty thing either. We're being avoiding, and avoidance is the worst thing that we can do for our growth. We've been avoiding and seeing what is real, what is true. And one of the things I also talk when I encourage people to go towards healing is really acknowledge what is happening now, acknowledge what has happened before, because that really is going to lead the way in where you want to go. Because if you don't know what has happened, and again avoiding it, like not seeing it and just seeing one side and not everything else, is avoidance, right? You're not going to see options, and how else can you grow, how else can you see the better picture of what could happen? Because the thing is, to when we go back in time to the past and find the root cause and all of this, what we are finding out, it is that at the end of the day, some of those events, some of those situations that happen, a lot of the beliefs that we became to form, they were created because they were keeping us safe, as I mentioned it, and because there was some sort of a role. That's the number one thing that a lot of people express when they go through this experience, that event, that belief, it was creating a role, a purpose, an intention of safety, of being the same as everybody else, of feeling lovable, right? Because they weren't feeling lovable. So somebody will say, well, how is it being in a bad relationship creating the role of being lovable? I know, right? Like we already talked a little while ago, because your mind will keep you in a familiar place. And so stepping out of that relationship is going to question, are you sure you're going to find somebody else? Nobody else is out there. Or you're going to think, all men are like that. So you already know this guy. Why would you want to adventure into finding another bad guy? You know, I know it's crazy, but again, if you are still in this loop, like I believe a lot of you guys are, because I've been there also many times, just stirring around in our mind is not going to help. You really get to take action. And again, this is the time, this is the year, this is the month, all right, to start thinking about what can you do to stay out of it, and not just only have it in your mind and your thoughts, and driving you around every single day. Really, it is our chance to break free and to really see that there's so many things out there for us. There's possibilities, there are options. And so I feel like a lot of us get to really once we trust, we get to really explore what those options are, right? So again, don't feel, I know that what we talked so far is very, might be new to you. I know it was so new to me when I was learning all of this, but at the same time, I was so intrigued, and I was like, oh my gosh, really knowing and believing that I got the power, I got to reclaim my power, right? And remember, I feel the most important thing is to remember that all of this, it might sound new, but it's not new. And trust that our mind knows what to do. And trust that when we tell it exactly what it is that we want and how we want it, it's going to get us. It's going to get us there. And so a lot of it, we already know we've been safe. We're always safe. We're always enough. We've been there before. Why can't we have more of that? Right? Being very clear that abundance is always available. I've been abundant so many times in my life. Why can't I have that? Right? Again and again. I've been loved before. Why can't I find love right now? I'll make it happen. So, really, it's reinforcing and bringing you back that confidence that you've always had. All babies were born confident. There's no one baby who wasn't born with that power, with that tool. Even when I've seen people who had um, regressing back in time and having those beliefs created before they were born, because including me, I had a session on myself where I could see myself before my time being born. And but oh, what I was gonna say is like I could see and feel how that was before I was being born. And in fact, I had a crazy experience when I was, um, how can I explain it? When I was conceived, when I could see and feel in my body and of course in my mind a picture of my mom and my dad's eggs getting together, my mom's eggs and my dad's sperm, right? I know it's crazy. But even in that moment, I could feel there was uncertainty in my life. And I wasn't even born yet. But the thing is, a lot of that is already being gathered, right? In our awareness, in our consciousness or subconsciousness. But then things, because here's the thing too that I forgot to mention earlier, our belief system is created from the time we're born, really is before that, but for the majority is, let's say, at the time you're born, because not everybody's open to believe that we have life before we're born, right? From the time we were born until about, like 10 years or so, 10 years old, maybe 14 sometimes, depending, because there's different beliefs that come up, right? Like feeling safe, feeling worthy, feeling loved, feeling good enough, feeling capable of certain things. So there's different layers, but in general, that's the range of our beliefs when they start forming in our mind. So having that awareness of when and where that happened and who was around really brings you your power, and remembering that you were at some point able to have all these feelings of abundance, respect, having respect and love and so on. So I, throughout the years, we've gotten so accustomed to accept what has happened and not deal with it and just put it aside. And we've become more okay with suffering, which I do believe that suffering is really a choice. Because I'm telling you this also, I know so many people in the cancer community who have gone through so much. And yeah, like cancer is not fun, right? No joke. But at the same time, I have learned that even living with a trauma or a lifestyle or a diagnosis, there is still a better way of being or living in happiness and love, because at the end of the day we know life is not forever, but why can't we make it the best life that we can for the how many time we got in this time, in this lifetime. I know it's like a game of words, but hopefully all of this resonates with you guys. Please let me know how it is landing for you. I really want to be here to support you because I've done the work and I'm continuing doing the work. I will always say this, guys, and you'll hear me over and over again. I will never be finished because everything, it feels like it's layered. Because again, I'm 43. In all my 43 years, and probably before 43, right? Before I was born, my soul has been collecting experiences. My soul has been collecting beliefs, because I also believe that there are some things that are in our minds that were not part of our lifetime here, but they were before, seeded from before we were born, another timeline. The people even say that we carry this maternal baggage, right, or this trauma from our mother and grandmothers and so on, our maternal generation, that we carry seven before us, and we are also the like 7 years, 7 generations after us is what we are able to do something about. So what I'm saying is we got the tools, we get to remember what to do, we just got to take action and really trust ourselves and trust the process. And so I share a lot, and I do believe that we will always grow. We will always grow, and we always have to accept that. And really, it is a journey. It is all a journey. I don't think like happiness is just going to be one time that you find it and you're okay with it and you're all over, right? And game over, you're happy forever. It's always a constant game in a sense. So, with all of this, what I'm saying to first of all, thank you so much for being here with me all this time. I know that there were some questions that for the lack of time, I'll be getting back to you in person because some of these are personal questions, and also responding to some of you guys who responded to my email. If you have any more questions, please send me an email at wellness@wendyrosenthal.com or connect with me on Instagram at Wendy for Wellness. Send me a DM over there because I'm more active and responsive there than I am on Facebook. But what I wanted to tell you is what I'm opening up now, going forward, and I've been doing this already, but I haven't spoken so much about it, is my coaching system, coaching program, in which I am doing for now. It's going to be a 1 month. So it's a one-on-one coaching session with me. We're working for about a month or so in this rapid transformational therapy, in which we're working for about a month. You have full support from me over Voxer, voice, or even we have to, according to the time we got to schedule it, but you'll have also like another follow-up phone call with me, and of course the hypnosis session, which about it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, so that's the more lengthy one. There will be a pre-call before that, so I get to know what is that one thing that you want to work with. Here's the thing about your mind, and you want it to be specific so that your mind knows what to do when you want to solve a problem. Okay, let's say a lot of you guys told me about the past, and I know there's so many things about the past that we want to change. Again, we already went through a whole list of things, but if you want to work about something in particular, always focus in one thing at a time. And so when you're working with me, let's say we work together and we work for that month, we're going to be focusing just one thing at a time. And I bet you that most of the time, if not like 99.999%, that one thing that you're working on is going to heal more things that were also around, because it'll bring you more awareness. You'll be more open, more aware about what's happening, and also it's going to bring out other things that you didn't even know. So in a sense, that is also a good thing, because you want to make sure that things are covered, and not covered as in taken care of. That's a better way of saying, rather than being covered and forgotten and never dealt with. All right, so you'll be working with me for about a month. And we have, and then also in our session we'll go deeper, deeper into, again, going back into the past, finding the root cause, exactly what it is that could be the cause of what is that one belief that you want to change, because everything is about belief. Even if you tell me, no, I just want to lose weight, I don't care about, feeling, I feel worthy, I feel, beautiful. And I've heard this many times that people sometimes like, no, everything is amazing in my life, I'm happy, I feel amazing, I am worthy, I have money and everything, I just want to lose weight. There's a deeper thought and belief inside that is not allowing you to do that. Even somebody also came to me a couple of weeks ago saying, I have everything except I'm very messy and I'm not organized at home. And but that's just it. Everything is fine in my business, everything is fine in my relationships, but at home, like, it's like I can never find time to clean up. Believe me. Believe me, there are so many things that I wouldn't even think that people will want to heal, but at the same time, everything can be healed, right? So, but you know what? When we went and did our session, there was more than that. And then if you are also, if you're not organized or clean, or have a system at home, that pretty much can relate to other areas in your life, because later on we could find out that her relationship was amazing, but there were some things that she wasn't aware of because things were not organized in her mind about her relationship, right? So anyway, so we can talk more deeper about all of this, and I can tell you a lot more how we can work together beyond that 1 month, because I have another, like I said at the beginning, about 3 month coaching program as well. But that's only depending on what exactly it is that you want to focus on. Because for a lot of people, let me just tell you right now as well, for a lot of people who have come for a specific quote unquote problem, most of the time one session is just enough. Most of the time it's just enough. Okay, but like I said, sometimes it brings up something else. There are some things that have a deeper root, like it's more rooted or it has more ramifications, and so we get to uncover those as well. But we get to have a little more time, which is okay, because at the end of the day, it's all part of your healing as well. Now you'll get all of that, and then also you'll get like bespoke recording from me, a transformational recording you get to listen to for 21 days. I'll tell you more about it and what goes into the recording, what to do with it, and so on. So all of this Um, all of this is what I'm offering in my coaching for one-on-one sessions with me. So if you're interested, please, please, please let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram at Wendy for Wellness. Also, send me an email at Wendy wellness at wendyrosenthal.com. I'll be sending you an email about it with details as well. And I love to have you. I love to support you because I really, really feel, once again, you guys, I know we all want so many things in life, and it's tough to get it sometimes, or at least we feel that it's tough, but we can always get it if we really start putting the effort right now, taking the action. But again, how do you take action when you are not clear of what you want? Or how do you take action when you're still feeling in a certain way that you're feeling stuck? Nothing's going to happen. You're going to continue to be in this loop. And probably next year around this time when I give another masterclass like this, probably I wouldn't want to see you there, right? I wouldn't want to see you there. I would want to imagine you already beyond where you are right now and having all the success, all the happiness, all the love, all the good things that you desire and you deserve, because we all deserve all of that and more. All right. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for being with me all this time. I'll be sending you the replay soon. And also share this with your friends, with family, because one of the things, oh, I'll tell you more details about it also in the email, because you got bonuses. One, you got bonuses for being here in the replay. I'm sorry, here in the class, and also for those of you who signed up, because at the end I will, in a way, have this video available for other people. But I'll be sending bonuses, which will be extra recording for you to listen to, because this will be recordings that your mind is specific for your mind, that you will be listening, and it will start the transformation in your ways of changing those beliefs that you want to change. And so, and then also part of your, I don't have it here right now because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, but at the same time, if you sign up and then if you refer to somebody else, there'll be also a promotion of a discount for both of you guys. But for now, please let me know how else can I help you, how else can I support you. Let me be that, create a container for you and be here available for you, because I'm always here to support you and answer your questions. Okay, love you all, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys soon.